Hello students, I hope you are all doing fine. My name is Miss Mughakali, your education teacher, and today I'll be discussing with you all the concept of education, chapter 1, part 1. It's written here. So before going into the lesson, I want you to all have your textbooks, your printed notes, if you're taken from the school, your printed notes and a rough copy with you, so that as I keep on explaining, you will be able to mark and you will be able to refer later for your better understanding. So before going into the lesson, let me just give you a brief introduction to the chapter, okay? So this chapter, it attempts to make the teaching very comprehensive for the young learners. It attempts to make the teaching very interesting and very broader terms for the young learners. It deals with meanings, definitions, synonyms of education. It also deals with different concepts of education, that is the narrow and the broader meaning of education. We will also be studying about the difference between literacy and education and the need of education in details. So this chapter is very interesting and it's quite easy, so I want you to all to listen carefully and refer to your textbooks as well. So let's look at the etymological meaning of education. So what does the word education mean? The word education has been derived from the Latin term, okay? So in your textbooks, they have given two terms that we need to discuss. The first word is educatum, which means the act of teaching or training, and education has also been derived from the another Latin term, which is edicere, which means to lead forth or to draw out. So basically all these meanings indicate that education seeks to nourish the good qualities in man and draw out the best in every individual. Education seeks to develop the innate capabilities or the inborn capabilities of a man. Let me just cite an example. As an individual living in the society, you and me, we have to think critically, in our every day-to-day life, we have to think critically about various issues in life and take decisions about them by being free from prejudices, by being free from superstitious or blind beliefs. We are ought to take our decisions in a very critical manner. So through the process of education, we are taught how to take decisions effectively and efficiently. Through the process of education, we are taught, we are learned and we are molded on how to take our decisions effectively and efficiently with the use of our head, heart, and hand, the 3H. They are known as the 3H. So we are taught how to take decisions effectively and efficiently. So therefore, in brief, education is the act of teaching or training the students. It is the act of teaching. It is the act of bringing up. It is the act of nourishing. It is also the act of extracting out, leading out, etc. So moving on, I hope you are now clear about the etymological meaning of education. Moving on, let's look at the definitions of education given by different Western philosophers. See, education does not have, let me just make it clear that education does not have one definite meaning, okay? So it does not have any one universally accepted definition. It has varied meaning with varied function. It has it has many meanings with many functions, and it is also it doesn't have any universally accepted definitions. So, but the simplest and the shortest, I think the simplest and the shortest definition of education is change in behavior. Change in behavior means to change or modify the behavior in a positive way. In a positive way, to mold the person, to change the whole behavior of a person in a positive way. So I think the change in behavior is the most simplest and the shortest definition of education. Let's look at some of the definition given by our Western philosophers. See, in your textbooks, they have given more than 20 definitions, okay? So if we keep on discussing everything, then I think it will be much waste of our time. So I'll just be discussing some important definitions with you all, but in the exam or when you are going through your textbook, you are ought to memorize all the definitions. See, definitions is not something that you can write on your own, or it's not something that, I'll think it and I'll write it on mine. It's not like that. So you have to write exactly as it is defined in the textbook. So you are ought to go through all the definitions that is given in the textbook, because in the exam we don't know which definitions will be asked So I want you to all to memorize all the definitions that is given in your textbook. We will look at the definition given by different Western philosophers. See, you'll also come across Western philosophers as well as Western educationists. So I want to differentiate that for you. Philosophers means the lover of wisdom, like they are known as the lover of wisdom, okay? So like they are the ones who offers different views, they give their opinions or they give their theories on different questions or different theories. So philosophers are someone who gives their ideas or opinions, okay? So and educationist means the person specialized in the theory of education. So I don't want you to get confused with Western philosophers and Western educationists, okay? So like let's look at the definition given by Socrates. Socrates is also known as the father of philosophy. So according to Socrates, education helps us to dispel error and discover truth. According to Socrates, education helps us to understand. It helps us to understand and differentiate between what is right, what is right and wrong, what is correct and incorrect. It also helps us to understand the difference between the good and the bad. So dispel error means like to recognize the wrong one, and discover truth means to identify the truth or the correct one. So according to this definition, it helps us to in a very keen way, it helps us to understand the difference between the good and the bad. See, when you are faced with two options, let's just take an example. When you are faced with two options and you don't know which one is the correct one, or which one is the right one, or which one is the wrong one for you, you are just say you are in a point where you have to take the decision between two options. So education in a way like makes you understand the difference, or makes you understand the difference between the right and the wrong one, and it also helps you to understand, to take the right decision, which is the right one for you. So I hope you've understood the point. Education helps us to dispel error and discover the truth. Let's look at the definition given by Aristotle. Aristotle defines education is the creation of a sound mind in a sound body. So in this definition, Aristotle, this definition emphasizes on the physical as well as mental activities of an individual. Like a sound mind means a calm mind. In other words, it means calm mind. A sound mind means calm mind, and a sound body means a calm body. So a sound body means a healthy body which is free from diseases, and a sound mind means a mind that is capable of taking positive decisions, a free thinking mind, a positive thinking mind. So according to Aristotle, education is the creation of a sound mind and a sound body. Aristotle doesn't only give emphasis on the mental activities, okay, like or the physical activities, but he emphasizes much importance on both the physical as well as the mental activities. Physical activities along with learning new skill have become an essential part of education. So education is the creation of a sound mind in a sound body. So a sound mind in a sound body. Physical health and sound mental health together produce the ability to enjoy life. So if they go hand in hand, if there's a balance between the sound physical health or the sound mental health, then it produces the ability to enjoy life. Let's look at the definition given by Herbert Spencer. Herbert Spencer, education is complete living. What is complete living? See, this definition is very short, but it comprises very deep meaning, okay? So like education is complete living. Complete living means to live a balanced life with positive character, behavior, and knowledge for the wholesome development. Complete living means, like I said earlier, it doesn't only focuses on one part of your body or your physical aspects or your mental aspects, but it deals with the wholesome development. So Spencer defined education as complete living. Let's look at the definition given by Heinrich Pestalozzi. Education is natural, harmonious, and progressive development of man's innate powers. Man's innate powers means man's inborn powers. Each human being has immense talent, inborn talent or talents in him. So like education provides development. Education provides environment for the development of an individual. It also produces according to the needs of an individual. Okay, so it studies about the needs of the individual, the aspects of an individual, and according to the needs of an individual, education provides conducive atmosphere to him or her. Now let's, like I said earlier, the differences between the Western philosophers and Western educationists. Now let's look at the definitions given by Western educationists. Like I said, educationist means a person specialized in the theory of education. So John Dewey defines education as the development of all those capacities in the individual which will enable him to control and control his environment and fulfill his possibilities. See, education is the process of living through a continuous reconstruction of experiences. Okay, see, one experiences alone does not create education, or one experiences alone does not help you to define education. It is a continuous reconstruction of experiences. Education will help in developing the hidden capacities and abilities of an individual, and also helps the person to control and adjust with his environment. I hope you are clear with the point. Let's look at the definitions given by Western philosophers, thinkers, and educationists. According to the Indian philosophers, thinkers, and educationists, the concept of education as told by prominent Indian philosophers and in their scriptures are given as under Bhagavad Gita. Nothing is more purifying on earth than wisdom. Page number 15, Bhagavad Gita. Nothing is more purifying on earth than wisdom. Nothing is more pure on earth than that of wisdom. So in this definition, let's take wisdom as education. Okay. So wisdom means ability to apply relevant knowledge which is possible only through education. So nothing is more purifying, nothing is more pure on earth than education or wisdom. Rigveda. Education is something which makes men self-reliant and selfless. Rigveda is the Indian sacred collection of hymns. Okay, so I don't want you to get confused with Bhagavad Gita and Rigveda. Indian sacred collection of hymns. So Rigveda means, according to Rigveda, education is something which makes men self-reliant. Self-reliant means trusting oneself, trusting yourself. So it helps you to make you trust yourself, have confidence in yourself, and it also helps to make you selfless. Selfless means you are more concerned about other people, you are more concerned about the wishes and the needs of other people rather than yourself. So education helps you to make a person self-reliant as well as selfless. So education is something which makes men self-reliant and selfless. Upanishads. Education is for liberation. Liberation, what is the meaning of liberation? Liberation means the process of striving to achieve equal rights and status. So education is for liberation. So in order to attain liberation, you need education that inspires you to think critically. Education inspires you to think critically, and education frees the mind instead of numbing it. In order to attain liberation, see, your mind need to be a free thinking mind, your mind need to have a positive thinking mind. So instead of numbing, education helps you to free your mind instead of numbing it. So education is for liberation. I hope you have understood that part. Now let's moving on. Let's look at education as a result-oriented process. Education as a result-oriented process. Let's look at the definition given by Swami Vivekananda. According to Swami Vivekananda, education is the manifestation of the perfection already in man. So education is used for making people understand the perfection already present in a person. Okay, so like he has manifested God. Vivekananda is, according to Swami Vivekananda, his definition is the manifestation of God, and through education, godliness comes to light in man. Education also helps in developing kindness, respect, generosity, care, and affection in men. So Swami Vivekananda has emphasized on positive attitude for proper development of an individual. Rabindranath Tagore. According to Rabindranath Tagore, education is that which makes one's life in harmony with all the existent, and thus enable the mind to find the ultimate truth, which gives us the wealth of inner light and love, which gives significance to life. So education helps, according to this definition, education helps a person to adjust with his or her environment, okay? Adjusting with environment, without being observant of the environment, or without being observant of the people around you or the society around you, we are not able to attain the wholesome development. That is the basic aim of education. We are not able to attain the wholesome development, so one must be a keen observant of his environment. Education also develops love and affection in an individual. So I don't think I need to explain on that. It helps to develop love and affection in an individual. Now let's look at the definition given by Mahatma Gandhi. I hope you are all aware who Mahatma Gandhi is. Mahatma Gandhi, he was also a great philosopher and a thinker of India, okay? So like he believed in non-violence. He is regarded as the father of nation. So according to him, by education I mean all-round drawing out of the best in child and man, body, mind and spirit. So Gandhiji has emphasizes on the all-round development of an individual, okay? So like in your orientation, if you remember, I have said that education is an all-round development, right? So Gandhiji has rightly emphasized on this, Gandhiji has rightly emphasized on that very statement, okay? Education means not only gaining knowledge, passing your exam or getting formal education, getting promoted to the next class, education, but education means all round drawing out of the best in child and man. Education also helps in the physical as well as mental development. Healthy mind, it helps you to promote healthy mind, preventing mental illness, etc. You must have all heard about the quote that says, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, right? So this definition in one way or the other comes to that, okay? If you keep on studying, but if you don't emphasize on the play side of your life, then you are not attaining the wholesome development. But if you balance between your work as well as your play, then you are working towards the wholesome development of yourself and of an individual. So Gandhiji emphasizes that one must learn as well as play for the all-round development of an individual. Moving on, let's look at the salient features of education. What do you understand by salient features? Salient features means facts or important points of education. Salient features of education means important points of education, in other words. So point number one, education is systematic. Education is systematic means education takes place in an orderly manner. It is systematic. It doesn't just happen like that. It is systematic, it is pre-planned, it is predetermined. So education is systematic as it is carried out using a planned order procedure. Education is pre-planned. Like I said, it doesn't just happen like that. Education is pre-planned. We need predefined plans, or education needs to be planned in advance. Education is based on instruction on discipline, means it is based on the instruction given to you, it is based on the knowledge given to you, it is also based on obedience and instructions. Education involves two individuals, one is the mature and the other is immature. Mature means somebody who is fully grown up, or somebody who has developed, and somebody who has more experiences. And immature means somebody who is still young and learning. So education involves two individuals, means the mature one teaching the immature one. So I hope you have understood that part. Education involves a teacher and a pupil. So the mature and the immature also somehow relates to this. Let's take the example of teacher as the mature one and the pupil as the immature one. So education involves a teacher and a pupil. Education is harmonious development of different facilities of an individual. Harmonious development, like I discussed earlier, it means the development of both the mind and the body. Education also helps in developing intellectual, aesthetic, social, and spiritual powers of an individual. This also comes under the harmonious development of different facilities of an individual. It doesn't only focuses on one aspect of an individual, but it focuses on the all-round development, on the all-round harmonious development of an individual. So it focuses on in developing like intellectual, aesthetic, social, spiritual and innate powers of an individual. Education helps in developing physical powers. Education also helps in developing physical powers of an individual. Education helps in extracting a systematic influence on the immature by the mature. See, this point is similar with the point number 4 that I've discussed earlier. It involves two individuals, that is the mature and the immature. The mature one teaching the immature one on different concepts, different aspects of life, different situations, and providing knowledge to the immature one. Education helps in developing the power for adjustment. I think one of the most challenging and difficult situation that we face is not being able to adjust with your environment. See, adjustment is very important in our day-to-day life. So without being able to adjust with your environment, without being able to adjust with the society, without being able to adjust with your peer groups, I think this is one of the most challenging difficult situation that will ever come across. So education helps education helps a person in developing the power of adjustment. Education is a means and not an end. Education is a continuous process, okay? It doesn't end. Education is a continuous process and not an end in itself. See, by birth, we have been all-round development and harmonious development. I think all comes under this point, okay? Education starts from the time you are born till the day you die. See, every aspect of an individual is taken from the, every aspect or every situation that an individual come across is taken from the educational point of view. So education is a means. It keeps on going and going, not only in the four corners of the classroom, but even at home, even when you are roaming, even when you are in the playground, or even when you are gathering somewhere, even when you are with your peer groups. It just keeps on continuing. It doesn't end. Education is a means and not an end. Therefore, by now we have understood that education is an all-aspect term and not just confined to one concept, okay? It is not confined to one concept. Education, unlike other subjects, education is a very broad subject. It helps to prepare oneself for mature life and better living. So that is the part 1 of our chapter 1. That is the part 1 of our chapter 1 concept of education. I'll continue from where I have stopped. I'll see you all in the next class. That is part 2 of chapter 1. Thank you all.